Do you believe in ghosts? According to a recent Gallup poll, there are over 45 million Americans who do believe. Ever since the dawn of mankind, people have reported encounters with things unknown, things that go bump in the night. In a moment, you will embark on such an encounter. You're going to see authentic videotape of a true haunting, not a reenactment. And during the course of this program, you will meet some fascinating people who claim to have come face to face with ghosts.
Whatever we're dealing with, it possessed the ability to kill.
Are you okay, buddy?
Oh my God. And I remember feeling these eyes looking at me. It was as if somebody was right behind me, just looking right at me.
The balls of light seem to have a purpose and name. Oh my God, Barry, oh my God!
What happened to her?
All we can tell you is what we've seen and experienced and recorded.
I'm so scared and I don't even know why.
In 1870, this was one big mudflat that flooded at every high tide. Today, that same mudflat is one of the busiest shipping ports in the world, the Los Angeles harbor located in San Pedro, California. On November the 17th, 1988, not far from the hustle and bustle of the shipping lanes, a young woman named Jackie Hernandez moved into a small house. Not long after, Jackie became convinced that something else was present in her home, something not of this earth. Jackie was a lot like any other child growing up in Saratoga Springs back in the 1960s. A young and carefree girl, nothing in her past gave any clue that she would be destined for such an extraordinary experience.
I had always been the type of person who's always been afraid to be alone. I wasn't afraid of ghosts. I was afraid of people breaking into my house. But for some reason in this house, which was a very easy house to break into if you looked at it, I was not afraid. And I felt that some kind of presence, but I never really thought about it.
The presence Jackie felt in the house would soon turn into something more.
I remember the very first thing that happened was when I walked by my desk, and Al was sitting at the desk, and a friend of mine was sitting on the couch. And when I walked by the desk, I wasn't close to it. I was a couple feet away. But it was as if this thing came tumbling at me. It was a pencil holder, and the pencils came out. And I knew I didn't touch it. And I remember looking at Al and him looking at me, and with this question, how did that happen?
In February 1989, the haunting would become even more terrifying. She observed the apparition of an old man sitting on this bunk bed in her children's bedroom.
Every time I've seen him, he's always been cross-legged. He's got a grayish, he looks like he's a corpse. It looks like a corpse. And he's got a grayish tone to him, and he's wearing a red flannel shirt, and his shirt is tucked in, his pants are high waters, and they're like the old gas attendant's pants.
Not long after, Jackie's girlfriends began seeing strange phenomena as well. This painting suddenly flew across the room and landed on the kitchen countertop. Susan Castaneda, Jackie's neighbor, claims to have personally witnessed paranormal phenomena within the home.
I don't know what it is, but I saw it, and I smelled it, I experienced it, I felt it. It touched me, it talked to me, it communicated to me, it did things here at my house to let me know that it was there.
While in her presence, This lamp suddenly took off from a small table and crashed to the floor.
I heard a big thump. I thought a bookcase had fallen.
One night when Jackie went out of town, her friend, Darlene, agreed to babysit her two small children, Samantha and Jamie.
When I looked in from the living room to the bedroom, it looked like it was so far away, you know, and then I heard a voice saying, "Don't come in here." It was real spooky, you know, real scary. It made me feel like it would be violent if I did, you know, go into the restroom.
Jackie grew restless as the days wore on. On another occasion, Jackie observed a stream of water mysteriously pouring out of this light switch.
From the time she moved in that house, she felt something in that house. She felt it. She was pregnant at the time, and she would tell me these things, and I'd just say, yeah, huh, you know. Well, if you feel comfortable feeling that something is there, or a presence or whatever, looking out for you, then it can't be evil, because you feel it's looking out for you. And I thought it was Jackie's own confidence in herself, for the first time in her life, that she didn't feel afraid being in that house. Until the manifestations really started, until it really started showing itself to her, until it showed itself to me.
Susan Castaneda told Jackie she'd recently seen a group of parapsychologists on a local television program. Jackie decided to give them a call. That call would lead to the involvement of these three men in search of the unknown. Dr. Barry Taff, parapsychologist, has investigated well over 2,500 cases of poltergeist phenomena. It was he and former associate Carrie Gaynor who researched a classic 1974 case made famous in a movie known as The Entity. Barry Conrad, TV cameraman, has shot over 5,000 news and feature stories for television. An Emmy Award-winning photojournalist, Conrad has worked for both the ABC and NBC affiliated TV stations in Ohio and Colorado. Throughout the 70s, Jeff Wheatcraft was an elementary school teacher in Omaha, Nebraska. In 1980, he moved to New York City to pursue photography.
On the night of August 8th, 1989, Barry Conrad, Jeff Wheatcraft, Larry Brooks, and myself went out to the San Pedro home of Jackie Hernandez for the first time. And we interviewed her at great length. The cameras were set up. We did some shooting, did a lot of walking around the house to see whatever we could feel. The first thing that was apparent was there was a very peculiar odor to the house, a foul stench, reminiscent, very similar to the Entity case that occurred back in 1974.
I was a tremendous skeptic, I guess, but what happened to me was something way beyond what I'd ever thought that could possibly happen.
So we thought they would come out there and they wouldn't see anything. And Jeff came in, he was very quiet. And I didn't even know he was a photographer until they interviewed us, and we told them everything we'd seen it to that point, and then they decided to walk through the house.
I'm sitting there listening to her interview, and she's talking about disembodied heads and things in the attic.
I felt something behind me, so I kind of I turned real quick, and as I turned, there was a head, and it was just a head, and it was coming for me, right towards me, and I just freaked and just fell.
And I'm thinking, yeah, right. You know, very doubtful that anything like this would actually occur, that anybody would see it. And that's when I ask, you know, let's see the attic. Let's go up there, or at least open the attic door and see what we can find.
Fascinated by Jackie's account of the disembodied head, the group decided to inspect the house. Just above this laundry room is the entrance to the attic. Jeff Wheatcraft decided to go up and shoot a couple of photos.
I went up into the attic and checked it out. It's a very small attic. It's very simple. There's nothing up there, basically. But you know, as I walked around, I felt like there was something looking at me. You know, you get this feeling where something's looking at you or something's behind you, and you just feel just very uneasy, and you're always kind of looking back to see if there is anything. That's the feeling I got the first night that I looked up in the attic.
Larry Brooks asked him what he would think about going back up into the attic and taking shots with his camera over his shoulder.
I started clicking off some photos. It was dark, totally dark. I fired first, I fired second, and just as I fired into the third frame, something pulled this camera from my hand.
And we all hear this scream. We hear Jeff just this loud scream. And everybody, instantly runs to the kitchen, which is right there by the laundry room. And we see Jeff. Jeff comes out of the attic, and he looks as white as a ghost himself. He was shaking.
I go back up there with lights this time, with a flashlight. I don't see my camera in the position that I was. I look back in the corner. All of a sudden, I see just the lens sitting there. In the corner, in the other corner of the attic, was the body of the camera lying upside down with the lens port laying straight down into a box, just an old crate that was in the attic. Now talk about your first fright right there. I knew there had to be something. There had to be something in that attic.
When Barry Conrad went up with Jeff into the attic that night, a couple things had happened. First, his camera would die as soon as he went up into the attic. It would just quit. But when he brought it down, it would work. It wouldn't work up there, but it would work down below. And the other thing that happened, apparently, right in front of Barry Conrad, Jeff was pushed by this thing.
And I felt this force pushing my back, like a huge hand just pushing my back.
I witnessed it, right?
And you were right there.
I couldn't see what was pushing him, although I looked. We had a 1,000-watt light, which is about, I would say, probably to my right, somewhere right in this area.
Barry was looking directly at me, and he saw my face distort. I'm sure it must have.
I saw his body kind of shaking. He grabbed onto a rafter.
It wasn't like somebody just touched you. It was like a push, a bony hand that pushed me down.
Right in here, he was probably like right here.
And I went down and down and down, and here I'm just like, I can't believe this. And I didn't dare look behind me. I was frightened at that point, and I didn't dare look behind me. But here Barry's looking at me and wondering, what in the world is going on?
A few moments after Jeff and Barry left the attic, loud pounding noises began to emanate from the ceiling.
And the whole feeling of the room just changed. It went from, all of a sudden, from being just an interview to something that was actually happening. I mean, this was actually happening, and nobody could explain it.
What happened?
It's something grabbed that out of my hand. I'm not kidding. Somebody grabbed the whole thing out of my hand.
Just now.
Just now. It grabbed the whole thing out of my hand.
Run.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hear it? Hear it?
He's walking back and forth up there.
It is walking, definitely.
Yes.
Quiet, everyone. Shh, quiet.
There has been noises in this room that come from right in the center, right here.
Go ahead and talk.
That's where the noises come from. Sometimes there's a noise like a deep hum, and it's come from right here in midair. It's come from right in the center.
So you've heard noises in this room?
Oh yeah, deep humming. It comes from right here, right in the center of the room. And there's nothing here.
Were you ever pushed that hard? Boy, that thing pushes hard.
I was pushed hard. I was pushed hard on 2 occasions, very hard, where I could feel the imprint of the hand on my back.
Now convinced that a ghost was indeed present in Jackie's attic, Jeff peered once more into the eerie blackness. The atmosphere grew tense and silent.
Come on again, guy, come on. Ooh! A light! I get on top of the wash machine, I'm looking up into the attic, and I see 3 flashes of light. I saw the bright light, probably about as big as this lens opening here, and then the last thing I saw was a pinpoint, just a real little pinpoint of light. Then, after the 3 flashes of light, I'm thinking, maybe I'll see something more. All of a sudden, it's dark, and I see a black mass moving in the attic. Oh, shit.
What? Saw it again?
What? There's something moving in the darkness, and I can just see it move. It's huge.
Barry? Barry, you said you saw something moving in the darkness. So I want to get up here, and can you put your head through?
There's a light again. There's a light again. It's real fine pinpoint this time. It looks like it's getting smaller.
Really?
Yeah. It was too fast for me to even...
Can't see it from where I am.
It moved slowly across the attic. And then just like it dissipated. I could see it enough because there was enough light being reflected up into the attic, so I know that it was something black that was moving.
Yeah.
This was big, and this was a mass that moved. It was a black, I could see it still moving just with the light that was coming through here.
Well, how big was it? Like a large dog? Bigger than a dog?
I'd say maybe the size of maybe 3 guys standing.
Whoa.
3 guys.
But recently it's been getting a little bit destructive, and tonight was the most active it has ever been. It's fearful of something. It doesn't want you to be here. I can sense that.
From black shadows moving in the dimly lit attic to ghostly lights, something strange indeed was transpiring here. When Wheatcraft's film was developed the next day, an unusual orb of light appeared in the extreme lower left-hand corner of one of the frames. Books on the supernatural are filled with accounts of strange lights. What are they? And where do they come from? No one knows. The light you see here was recorded just moments before something unseen pushed Wheatcraft from behind.
It is 3:16 a.m. No, 4:16 a.m.
Everyone just left except us in the house. Things are starting to drip out of the cabinets. Nobody believe us, but it's happening, right, Jeff?
There it is.
There it is, right there. It's dripping.
The first night we were at the Hernandez house, Jackie told us about some viscous liquid dripping and oozing from various parts of the house. But we took some of the, I guess, liquid ooze, for lack of a better term, back to a lab to have it analyzed. Upon analysis, it was determined this was human blood plasma with a high copper and iodine content, and it was from male blood.
It's dripping.
It's pooling up over this.
Right down here in the corner, Jeff, Bob.
They tried to figure out a logical solution for, why it was happening, or possibly coming from a pipe, or what it could possibly be coming from other than just the walls. But there was no logical explanation.
We have no explanation for how this type of fluid, bodily fluid, could be present anywhere outside of a human body, except perhaps in a laboratory. How it got in the walls, we know for a fact that there were no bodies stuffed in the wall. This sounds like a bad movie, it sounds like a bad novel, but this was anything but, and it occurred repeatedly. It wasn't just one occasion.
This is Jackie. It's 10:30 Monday morning. I got a picture of it. I think I got about 3 or 4 good shots of it. It's going around on the kitchen ceiling, and there's a light film of smoke up there, and I don't know where the smoke is coming from. But I got the lights that have been zooming around. There's been light beams dancing around on the ceiling, and then there was also a shape form.
It was the morning of August 28 when Jackie made that call to Barry Conrad. She'd just taken pictures of an amazing light show in her kitchen. Her friend, Chrissy, also witnessed the phenomenon.
I looked up here, and there's a little light that was going around and around and around real fast. And by this time it was all clumped here, and it would divide and it would go back together, and it was like little jelly balls. Pretty soon, they were going like little kites or little fishtails, pollywogs, just real super fast across all the way across over here and back, arching.
When the balls of light were on the ceiling, it was very frightening. I had just woken up from a night's sleep, and I looked up on the ceiling, and there were these lights flying around, and my first reaction was like, oh my God, what is this? What is this? I want to get out of here. And in the meantime, Jackie was just taking pictures.
Jackie took the film to this photo lab. Chuck McAdams and Martha Houston, owners of the shop, were skeptical when Jackie told them her story.
But looking at the prints and what we've seen from it is weird. I mean, the patterns and the lights that we saw from this is a little unusual. It's not that you can say this is a particular item, but it doesn't really match what should be in a print like this.
They were very bright and luminous. All the blinds in the kitchen were shut, so it wasn't from the outside sunlight. They were round and just like they looked like they would jiggle, and they would move around a little bit and break apart and come back together.
I heard it breathe last night.
Awesome. You heard it breathe again, huh?
When I heard that, Barry, I said, I am not staying in this house, and I'm not going to sleep in this house. I can tell you that, because I wouldn't want to meet up with what made that noise. What's going to happen next? What's it going to do to me? You know? It's getting very hard to even be here. I feel like just packing up the kids and going to Texas right now. I'm really scared.
On September the 4th, 1989, the haunting in San Pedro became something more than just another ghost story. In fact, it became a matter of life and death.
Right now I'm feeling totally drained, totally tired, and totally on edge, and I feel like going up there and killing it again. I'm about to snap on it, and then it'll probably snap back. I couldn't take being in that house any longer. Barry had spent a few nights over at the house trying to investigate it more, and he was exhausted. I was exhausted, and he left, and that day, just things started happening.
We receive a frantic, and I do mean frantic, call from Jackie Hernandez. We listen to it on the machine, and she is frightened out of her mind.
I'm not staying here, Barry. I'm out of here. I gotta get out of here. I can't stay here.
The objects were being thrown across the room. The kids' toys were being levitated off the ground. I was just ready to, just jump in the truck and just drive until it ran out of gas, because I had no money at that time. I just wanted to get as far away from the house as possible.
Lost her.
Jackie?
Yeah, I heard a flicker. Lost her.
Jackie? You cut the line.
The phone conversation was interrupted. The call was interrupted by, it was disconnected.
Jackie? Jackie?
We were talking.
Hello?
You just cut the line.
What happened?
Are you guys there? Are you guys there?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. You know, she won't get any sleep. We better go down and get her.
Jackie?
What?
We're gonna come down and get you. Okay?
Okay.
All right, we're coming right now.
Okay, hurry, please. I don't know how long I can stay here.
We're leaving right now.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Prompted by her desperate tone, the crew drove to San Pedro.
When Barry and Jeff got there, I thought that they were going to come pick me up and we were going to leave. That wasn't the case. They get out of the van, they had their video equipment, and they come running in like they, were going ghost busting.
And that night, it was like it was something that was waiting to happen.
I've heard moaning, I've heard voices in the attic, I've heard breathing coming from both the bedroom and the kitchen. Balls went flying through the air today. A book went through the air today, just like a frisbee. The door closed on me, slammed on me all of a sudden. And lights from the kitchen and that light would go on and off.
Well, I met Barry Conrad in high school. I was a freshman, he was a senior, and we became friends then, and were friends for some years after that. And I just happened to be part of this crew, and just happened to be there on the night when this phone call came in. And you know, looking at it now, I still don't know what to believe. I just know what I had seen and experienced, and there were things that I'd certainly never seen before and couldn't be explained by, you know, any ordinary, you know, science or anyone else.
At first glance, everything seemed calm. After carefully checking the bedroom and bathroom, Jeff and Gary decided to venture into the attic.
Well, I guess I'm going to go up, and then Jeff's going to come up and check out what's happening tonight. Jeff, you okay?
I'm fine. I feel a little queasy about going up there, but
going up, huh?
I guess I'll go up. If I got a partner, why isn't it so bad?
It was the first time in nearly a month that Jeff had been to the house. Memories of that night undoubtedly still haunted him. Memories of an invisible presence. A presence which had literally touched him. But tonight, something even more startling and incredible was destined to occur.
Barry had the video equipment downstairs. He was ready to come up. I wanted to check around the attic just to see if there was anything unusual that had been moved or anything that had been placed around or whatever. Or if we could even see any kind of light that I captured on that film that first night.
At 12:50 a.m., Wheatcraft and Boehm climbed into the attic.
As Jeff and I entered the attic, I remember feeling maybe just a little bit apprehensive, not really knowing what to expect or expect anything at all. As I went into the attic, kind of getting a first look around there, it was probably first impression, it was mostly empty. I mean, there was nothing up there. There was no boxes for anybody to hide behind. There wasn't any other doors or openings. But the only real object that was there was a grape crate, just a small grape packing crate, and that really was about it.
It is, it's a wimpy thing. It comes out when I'm here alone, and then when people are here, it doesn't come out.
We only had two things with us. Jeff had handed me a camera, just a small little 35mm camera, and Jeff had a flashlight.
Barry, on the other hand, did not go up into the attic because since the first night that it messed with the video camera and wouldn't work up there, he decided to play it safe and he never took his camera up after that.
I remember spending probably just maybe 5 or 10 minutes up in the attic. All of a sudden, Barry Conrad looks up into the hole and he says, "I think there might be something happening down here. We hear something."
Did you guys just shine a light down here?
No.
No, that didn't look what I like.
No, that's not what I saw.
Right after I see this light, another amazing thing happened. There was a sound in my left ear, and I'll never forget this. It just sent chills down my spine, and it sounded like someone snapping their fingers. It was just as plain as day, and it sounded just like this.
What's it doing?
You know, Jeff,
It's snapping.
I fully intended to come back here and tell you I didn't think this was a good idea for you to go up there. Just like that. Just like somebody just snapped their fingers right in front of your face. And I looked at Barry, who had the camera, and I looked at Jackie, and Jackie looked at me. We all looked at each other like, who did that? Who did it? And all of us at that instant said, "It's down here, come down, come down, come down out of the attic," because we were very frightened.
After Conrad shouted for them to come downstairs, Boehm approached the opening. Wheatcraft, still near the center of the attic, prepared to take one step. It was the one step he'd never forget.
What's wrong?
What happened?
I told you, get down, get down!
There was a momentary space in there where everything went black.
Jeff Wheatcraft was physically attacked in this attic on September 4th, 1989 by an invisible force that actually pulled him up onto a nail protruding from a rafter beam and actually tried to strangle him to death.
I don't remember being lifted up there, but I was actually hung. I was hung in an attic, and he helps me off of this nail.
He had a horrible time getting Jeff down from there, and those were very anxious moments that passed because we didn't know whether to go up there or what. We knew something happened. Jay, this isn't a good idea.
This isn't a good idea.
This isn't a good idea.
And what happened was I found Jeff was not standing upright. He was over like at a 45-degree angle, and he was entirely wrapped around one of the slats holding the roof up. I mean, his legs, I mean, he was like basically off the floor because his legs were wrapped around this beam. It was like he was like wrapped around there holding on to this thing for dear life. The expression on his face, though, indicated almost like he didn't even know what was going on. That was like one thing that impressed me about the expression on his face. I mean, it was obviously, he was like scared and knew something was happening, but it was like he didn't know what.
And can you imagine just coming out of that dark space of time that I lost? I mean, I felt so out of control.
The thing I remember most about the hanging incident with Jeff Recraft was just how fast it happened. I mean, it was in just a fraction of a second. I had taken maybe 2 or 3 steps away from him, and then bang, he had called out, and there he was.
What's wrong? What happened?
People have asked me, why did I take these pictures? Why I didn't run help him? When I took the pictures, I couldn't see. I was just practical, trying to go and get to him and be able to see to get to him.
He was like very, very stiff. And again, I couldn't figure out why was he there in this position. So it wasn't until I got like right up on him and looked from like the side that I could see that this rope was around his neck.
It was this clothesline cord the ghost used in its attempt to strangle Jeff Wheatcraft. And this is where the mystery deepens. Where did the cord come from?
It ended up over my head like this, and then it was twisted like this. I don't know how far or to what degree, but I know it was twisted because it was tied around my neck. And then it was hung up over the nail on one of the cross members that go across the attic.
According to the researchers, the attic had been thoroughly searched only a few days before. All they found were these seashells along with a horseshoe.
What I remember was Jeff coming down, and he just looked so terrified.
Come on down, Jeff. What happened?
Put something around my neck.
Look at his neck. Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
He was scared.
Jeff, please get down.
I gotta get out of here.
Whoa.
It's definitely raising me up.
Jeff, please come here. Get this for me. Get the mic. Get the mic on. Jeff, here you go, buddy. Here you go. Here you go. What the hell happened? Are you okay, buddy?
Oh,
shit.
God.
Look at his neck.
Look,
Jeff,
come on.
What's behind your neck?
I don't know what's on my
Come
neck.
on,
Come on down. Come on down.
A piece of rope.
Oh, shit.
Gary, get down out of there, buddy.
I knew you should.
Can you find my glasses?
Gary,
Jeff. Look at this. Look at
Jeff,
this.
turn the camera.
Jeff, are you okay?
Jeff,
I'm fine.
Jeff, tell me what happened, buddy.
Well, I don't know, Gary. I told Gary that there was nothing happening up there, and he turned around and came. He was coming this way. All of a sudden, I feel this thing around my neck, and it's got me hanging, and it's pulling on my leg.
You were hanging?
Yeah, I was hanging. Gary had to bring me down. What has happened, actually? I'm pulled to the side of the attic, and there's nobody up there, and I know that Gary's standing there, and, he has nothing to do with it. He's at a distance from me. I see the flash from his camera, I remember that. And I know he said something to me, but I don't recall exactly what he said. But here I try to rationalize this in my mind, and I just can't do it. It's that frightening.
Get a picture of his neck. Look at this.
Look at his neck. Oh, my God.
If I had not been there, he would have strangled, and he would have probably died there in that attic if I had not been here to get him down, because he didn't know what was going on, and it was wrapped so tightly that I couldn't get him off of the nail. It was over a nail, and I found I had to actually bend the nail down straight to even get the rope off of it.
I don't think anybody should go in that attic anymore. Whatever is up there is dangerous.
Yeah, it was up my feet and it hung me on something. Gary had to pull me off.
Look at this. Look at this. Whatever is up there is dangerous.
I don't want to go through it again.
In the 110-year formal history of psychical research, there's been less than a handful of people that have been deliberately harmed or injured in some way by this phenomena. In fact, only one really well-established case. So this might be the second one. And if it was not for one of our other associates present in the attic, Jeff might have been killed. This is very different than what we're used to experiencing. People get frightened by anything they don't understand, but to have it directly attack somebody repeatedly is something that we really can't understand, and it suggests strongly that this phenomena is interacting with us. It's not some form of psychic projection, just some random force acting out of nature. It's discreet, and it seems to know what it's doing.
The hanging incident proved to be just one event of several that occurred that night.
Watch, she's going to pass out. Sit the camera down. Sit the camera down. Sit him down. Sit him down.
The horrors of that night never ended. I remember right after Jeff had been hung in the attic, I'm standing there and I'm looking through the viewfinder of my camera trying to document all of this, and suddenly a ball of light appeared in the viewfinder, yet it wasn't in front of the camera lens. And at that point, a surge of electricity or energy or something went through my body, and at that point I blacked out.
Get him down, get him down, get him down. Come on, outside, we gotta get out of here.
Come on, we gotta get the kids out of here too. We gotta get everybody out of here. This is dangerous.
All of a sudden, he pulled his eye away quick like that, and he looked at us, and he got the strangest look on his face. He it was like that he was just fading out.
This is dangerous. We have to get everybody out of here. No.
Okay.
Just have him sit down. Just have him sit down.
You got vertigo.
Just sit down.
Come on, come on,
Just sit down.
come on.
So you get him some water.
Come on.
Get him some water.
There's some water right
Outside in the air.
Let's look at this thing. Come on.
I think in the whole history of paranormal phenomena, there have only been a relatively small handful of cases in which ghosts have deliberately and maliciously attacked human beings, and I'm afraid to say this was one of them. So to experience the phenomena firsthand and to see the results of malevolent, malicious behavior on the part of something you can't see is probably the wildest kind of fright imaginable.
Wheatcraft, shaken by his experience, began to suffer a series of headaches and later sat on the porch to recover from his ordeal.
Just a tremendous headache just really hit me strong, real strong. I've never had one come on, you know, that bad. It maybe has something to do with the pressure on my neck, I don't know.
I mean, he always viewed everything as something like the devil's advocate. Well, it couldn't have happened. This couldn't happen because of this. Anything we would read about, or, you know, he tried to find a logical explanation for it. And this, he was just really taken aback by.
Concern for the safety of her children prompted Jackie to move them onto the porch as well. Her 4-month-old daughter Samantha was photographed as you see her at approximately 1:40 a.m.
I had passed her a few times, and every time I looked down at both of the kids to make sure that they were okay, because I was very worried about them. And I had even asked, or, you know, told it and demanded that it stay away from my children in no uncertain terms. In fact, that same night in the bedroom, I said, just stay away from my kids.
And I went back into the kitchen to get something else, and when I came back out again, I looked down at her, and she had a big red imprint or something right in the middle of her forehead.
I don't know. Look at what's on the baby. Come on, you guys. Let's go. Please, let's go. Please, let's go. Please, what happened to her? Oh, my God. It freaked me out because it came so close to my kids. And it was almost as if it was saying to me, hey, I can do what I want to. Don't tell me that not to mess with your kids, because if I want to, I will. What is that? What the fuck is it doing to my kids now? Let's get these guys out of here, Barry.
Just exactly what this substance was will forever remain unknown, since Jackie wiped it away before a sample could be taken.
As far out as this sounds, yes, I was forced out by this ghost. If I had stayed in that house, I would have had a nervous breakdown, or I couldn't see going on, because I was at my wit's end. I was about to crack up. So many things were happening, and it was very frightening. And I just had to get away from that house.
By 3 a.m., Jackie and the research team left the home. It was only a short time before she made the move permanent. As for Jeff Wheatcraft, it was the last time he set foot in the San Pedro house. But as you will see, it was not his final encounter with the phenomenon. When the research team traveled back to Conrad's apartment, Barry was anxious to view the videotape recorded earlier. While looking at a shot of Wheatcraft in the kitchen, Conrad made a startling discovery. A bright comet of light shot through the doorway behind Jeff.
I didn't see these again with my naked eye, but when I look back on the monitor in the studio, we started seeing these little comets of light moving at very, very rapid rates of speed through the frame. Later on during our investigation, we found many more of these lights, which led us to believe that this was some kind of unknown form of energy.
The phenomena it's displaying, besides the psychokinetic manifestations of objects moving, it's displaying visual materializations in the sense of corpuscular masses of light, like balls of light, similar like, say, an almost fireball lightning, but these aren't in any way, as they do not occur in this part of the world to begin with. But it seems to be following the woman. It manifests these corpuscular masses of light, and it seems to be malevolent or belligerent in nature, which the entity certainly was. Whether this is the same thing or something analogous to it, we don't know, but it's unique because the phenomena seems to be directional. It's aimed, it's focused, it's not some random force, we just happen to be there. It seems to go after certain things with a specific intention behind its actions.
Some of the more spectacular lights that I photographed were lights that occurred later on in the case. We recorded a sort of pea pod looking light. It looked like an object with 3 little cotton balls in it, and it actually traveled throughout the frame, and it disappeared for a frame, actually blinked out for a frame, and one object actually entered her head.
Barry didn't show me this film footage right away. He took him a while before I finally got to see it, because they were afraid of what my reaction to it would be, which was that of fear. It freaked me out to think that this thing was inside of me, or that these lights were going inside of me. It was bad enough having them around me, but it was a very weird feeling, you know, when I saw that film, and it still is. Every time I look at it, I get a weird feeling.
As far as insects go, there's nothing that would be that bright and that glowing. Also, the appearance of the shadows and things like that, it just doesn't seem right. These things seem to be self-illuminated. Insects, outside of fireflies, which don't occur here, are not self-illuminating. These lights are much more focused in a line. They curve very, very easily. Insects tend to be much more herky-jerky, more scattered in the way they go, tend to flutter much more, and go slow and fast at the same time. This was very constant in its speed.
I remember Barry Conrad videotaping constantly. He would walk into my house with a video camera on his shoulder, and he would very rarely put it down. And he was outside filming the exterior of the house, and he walked around to the side, and I was behind him, and the gate that was on the side of the house, it was a wooden gate, it opened all by itself.
Is it doing it by itself?
There's no wind back there, is there?
No.
I don't remember seeing the ball of light, but when we played back the video that he took of the gate, there was a ball of light that flew by.
Parapsychologists believe that these lights may represent a major breakthrough in the study of ghosts.
The most, I guess, impressive thing that I saw in all of Barry's tapes that I saw was this phenomena of these streaks of light. Basically taking all of them into account, and I saw maybe 2 dozen or 3 dozen events over maybe 6 hours worth of tapes, is that there's no real logical explanation for them. They have too much of a unusual phenomena. I'm convinced that they emit their own light, number one. They all have a very smooth flight path. Bugs, insects are very jerky in their motion. These were all very well-defined paths. They all had basic characteristics that were common. I personally, looking at them, cannot explain where they come from, what they are. Considering the whole situation that Barry is investigating, the possibility that they could be an apparition, I think is very strong.
Both emotionally and physically drained as a result of her ordeal, Jackie and her children were forced to leave their home. She moved to Weldon, California, nearly 300 miles north of San Pedro. Jackie felt a certain sense of serenity as she and her family adapted to life in this modest mobile home. Set amidst the foothills of the high Sierras, Weldon seemed like a perfect place to raise her children. But all of that changed in April 1990 as her worst fears were realized.
After moving up into Weldon and settling into the trailer, I was still afraid of the nights, even though I knew in my own mind nothing was at the trailer. Because as far as I was concerned, what I had experienced in that house in San Pedro, I had left in that house in San Pedro when I moved out.
It started here in this storage shed. Bizarre scratching sounds seemed to emanate from the structure in the middle of the night. Not long after, she began to see the weird lights again. And then, in late March 1990, this bedspread in her daughter's room mysteriously caught fire after Jackie and a friend had sighted an eerie black shape floating in the hallway. As was the case in San Pedro, Jackie's experience with the poltergeist would be shared by her new neighbors as well.
And we heard 3 knocks very loud in the baby's bedroom, and it was like a force was trying to get out. And it would go 3 times and it would stop, and it would go 3 more times. And I was freaked out. I did not want to be in the house at the time.
When it got dark and I was alone, I still would have to wrestle with myself, and I was still going through the ordeal, I guess the after effects or whatever, of what had happened to me before. I was still traumatized, I guess you would say.
I'm gonna do her. I can't stay here. I can't stay home tonight.
Anybody can come over?
Huh?
Anybody can come over?
Everybody's out. I'm looking around. All the lights are out. Everybody's out.
You all right?
I'm so scared and I don't even know why.
Do you feel something?
Yeah.
And it had been covered with a blanket for 6 weeks, 2 months. And when we uncovered it and moved it away from the side of the building, my wife was on the other side of the TV helping me push, and she said, "There's a face in there." And she was all animated, and I was directly opposite from her, and I saw it from a different angle, and I said, "No, it's dirt," and I reached over to wipe it off, and then I saw the face.
While moving this widescreen television set, Jim and Janice Silcott became yet 2 more witnesses. They say that the face of an old man suddenly appeared within the upper left corner of the screen. Yet the unit was unplugged. Could this have been the apparition itself?
All of a sudden the face was real clear that I could see from the opposite end of the TV, and it was just real clear, but his eyes were just staring straight at me, and he was just real, like you said, evil looking.
To me, he looked like an old man with real mean eyes. That was the thing that got me, was the eyes.
You just get this feeling when you walk over here. You can just feel the presence of something here. I don't know what it is, but there is definitely something here.
Everybody who walked in my house had experienced something, and it was very scary. And I was telling Barry over the phone what was going on as it was happening, and he couldn't believe it, and he wanted to come up and see for himself what was going on. There was a full moon out. It was almost exactly midnight when a van came trucking down the dirt road, and it was Jeff and Barry.
I guess a lot of people have asked the question, if you were hung once and all the things that happened to you down in San Pedro, why on earth would you even think about going up to Weldon to follow this woman and her ghost? And I guess the best way to answer that is I wanted to finish this case. I wanted to see this thing through. I wanted to find out if there was any possible way that I could rationalize this thing in my mind. As the case went on, maybe something would start to make sense. I saw a black shadow move right from here on up to about right here, I guess about right up in here from the distance perspective it was, and then it moved off like this. So it came up like this, moved up like this, just a very distinct black mass, shadow, and then it moved off just like that. And that was it. That's the first thing I saw.
Right behind you, I saw like a purple, like violet flash of light, and then it's just like flash, and that was it. And Jackie over here saw it too, so I don't know. That's probably the first time I've seen it at this house, but it's weird.
What is this image doing in Weldon, California, flying into a storage shed behind Jackie Hernandez's new home? We don't know. But further on in the evening, it got even more perplexing. For lack of anything better to do, waiting for phenomena to occur, hoping to perhaps encourage it, Barry and Jackie and Jeff began using a Ouija board with some of Jackie's neighbors.
It's supposed to be used as an entertainment device. We thought maybe we could get something out of it, and we certainly did that night.
After a while, things died down and the interviews were finished and people went home. And the only one who stayed behind was Tina, and that's because she already had made plans to stay anyway. I wanted to do the Ouija board. I told them what happened. I said, let's do it. Let's see what it has to say. I want to show you what this thing is, what happened. And I think they did it mainly to amuse me, not because they thought that there was anything to it.
Within those next few hours, astonishing paranormal phenomena occurred. Barry and Jeff, along with Jackie and Tina, were made witness to an awesome spectacle of supernatural power.
Once we got back in the trailer, it seemed like I was okay for a while, and the place was real cold. It was so cold in that trailer that we had to light a fire.
Right away, things started happening. The table started shaking. It started answering questions so fast that you had to write down the letters, and we didn't know what it was saying until after all the letters were written down and we could put together the words that the letters formed.
We received more than just messages from this entity. There was a whole range of psychokinetic phenomena at work in this room. The table shook violently.
At times it would shake very violently, and the candles would flicker on and off, and it was just strange. And I seen that pointer on the board moving around, and everybody could barely keep their fingers on it, let alone move it themselves.
This thing actually communicated in full sentences and words. I have never seen anything like it. I've seen people play the Ouija board before, where maybe you get just a couple letters here and there that are similar to something that you can kind of make out. This thing actually spelled perfectly, correctly, special words, everything was perfect.
During the Ouija board session, the entity actually answered questions asked by the group. The researchers were startled when the entity told them that he had been murdered, held underwater in San Pedro Bay in 1930. And when asked how many ghosts reside among the living, it spelled out, "Phantoms fill the skies around you."
This night was incredible. We were it seemed like direct communication with whatever was talking with us. And whatever was talking with us had a tremendous amount of hatred. This thing was filled with hatred. It was doomed to wander. That's what it said. We're sitting there, this table's vibrating. You just had a feeling something was going to give, and it did. I ask it, why are you focusing your energy on me? Why me? And it spelled out, because you are the likeness of my killer. And then Barry asked it, is there anyone in this room that you have hate for? And it spelled out my name, Jeff. And it was at that exact point, whatever it was, hit me directly and drove me against the wall of the trailer.
Jeff was picked up, the chair and everything was levitated off the ground and slammed against the wall.
When Jeff flew back against that wall, it wasn't a stumble. His chair came up off the ground and went straight back.
Well, I personally saw a man levitate right in front of me and get thrown against a trailer wall with unbelievable power.
When I saw Jeff go flying back against that wall, I thought that it was going to attack one of us next. So I screamed and I went running out as fast as I could.
It felt like something was coming up right here at this point and striking me, lifting me up out of the chair and throwing me against the trailer wall.
When I saw Jeff get thrown, I think all of us thought that we seen a man get murdered by a ghost. And I took off running and screaming, and Jackie went to get her kids out of the house, and Barry went and picked up Jeff.
Jeff was okay after a few seconds, thank God, and he got up. I got my son, who was on the couch sleeping, and gave him to Tina, who would not come in the house. My daughter was in the back bedroom, and I was so afraid I could not go back there and get her. It went from one extreme to another. It seemed to be most active at night, and when daylight came is when I felt a sigh of relief.
Intrigued by what he had seen, Barry Conrad decided to visit the News Pilot, the local San Pedro newspaper. While searching through records of old newspapers stored on microfilm, Conrad discovered an interesting article dating back to 1930, the year the entity claimed it had been murdered. The body of Herman Hendrickson was discovered near the 22nd Street landing. When his body was found, authorities believed he may have met with foul play. According to the death certificate, examination of the body revealed a compound fracture to the skull. Due to lack of evidence, however, the man's death was ruled accidental. Herman Hendrickson was a seaman. He worked on this ship, the Astoria, a lumber steamer commissioned by the Hammond Lumber Company back in the 30s.
It made me feel extremely excited to think that there was some kind of a link here to something beyond the grave. But we found a man in the newspaper that correlated to the information that we had received through the Ouija board that someone had been murdered, perhaps held underwater. Indeed, the entity said he'd been held underwater.
After discovering the death of Hendrickson, a question was raised about the knot used in the hanging of Jeff Wheatcraft.
Whoever made that knot knew what he was doing. He was connected some way with the ocean. Back in the 30s, they all used it. It's been used for hundreds of years. Well, here's your bowling. That is a very common knot. It's used every day by seamen, by fishermen.
It has been said that the sea does not give up her secrets easily. I suppose that statement could very well apply to the mystery behind the death of Herman Hendrickson, whose body was found not far from here. Is it possible that the ghost of a seaman dead nearly 60 years had returned from its watery grave to haunt an innocent victim? It's an enigma that no one may ever solve. As the investigation continued, Jackie's patience was wearing thin. She decided to move once again. During June 1990, she and her children returned to San Pedro and moved into this apartment house.
And when I found the apartment on 7th Street, I had a priest come in right away and bless it because I was so frightened. I just wanted to do everything I could. I knew it was with me right away.
A few weeks later, Jackie shot this amazing series of photos. These floating balls of light hovered near the bedroom closet for several seconds and then changed shape, evolving into a trio of oddly glowing spheres.
It was a ball of light that was hovering above the floor in the bedroom. And I was programmed by Barry very early on to get pictures of anything like this happening. And I enjoyed getting pictures. I mean, I wasn't frightened by it at the, when I got the pictures. I was excited to get pictures that no one else would get and to prove that I was seeing what I was seeing, get it on film. So I took the camera, and it was just a regular Instamatic 35mm, and I started taking pictures with and without the flash and different parts of the room and trying to get different angles. And the light was the same as it had been before. It was a bright white light that would separate and become two, and then it would separate again, and it would go back together, and it was a bright glowing light. It was about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. The sun had been up. It was pretty well lighted outside. And if I used the flash, it didn't come across on the pictures. But without the flash, the light was so strong, it illuminated the carpet. You could see the illumination in the carpet, almost like it was like a light bulb that was just hovering above the floor. And that was the most incredible shots I had gotten.
In my 20 years experience in darkroom work, I have never seen these kind of negatives and these kind of photographs before. They're highly unusual. In this particular picture here, these particular items seem to have some kind of a dimension to them. In other words, they seem to be ball shaped. It's almost as if you could grab them like you could a ball. They also have the light. It seems to be that the light is not being reflected straight down from the wall, but it's centered out away from the wall. The center of the light seems to be right about here, which is several inches away from the wall. Therefore, these might be away from the wall. If that's true, there should be some light that's being reflected against the wall, but there's not. Extremely unusual. I can't explain it.
You know, I'm a little startled as I take another look at this picture. I didn't realize at first. I was amazed that the picture was casting its own energy field, and there was actually a glow on the carpet here. Now you realize as you look at this, there's no source. There's no source to this. There's no beam of light coming to this. But the thing that really startled me as I got to looking at this, you have at least two separate energy fields here. The large one is actually casting a small shadow onto the small one. You see that? I mean, that is incredible.
I don't know what these light sources are, but I think I know what they are not. I know that they're not reflected light sources. I don't believe that they're coming from the sun. I don't believe that there's something in the room that's causing a reflection to create this kind of a situation. They're emanating light themselves. There's no way that light can be reflected from the wall down to the carpeting the way that it's being done. Highly unusual. I hope that we find out someday what they are.
What's absolutely remarkable about this case is that this phenomena did not only follow Jackie Hernandez from one home to another, but on repeated occasions followed the researchers back to their own homes.
This is the second time tonight that this flame has turned itself on. The first tip-off for this thing following us was the burners, the gas burners on his stove. Every time we'd come home from somewhere, a shoot or going out to dinner or whatever, you could walk in the kitchen, and if the burners were on, you knew that this thing was playing games. But here it is, just as plain as day, just exactly the way we left it, July 5th, 1990. When we came back from eating dinner, we ate a late dinner, about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Here you have two scissors laying underneath two pillows.
The entity proved at least one thing to the researchers. No one's domain was sacred. Inexplicably, objects were moved. Photographs were rearranged. A jar of coffee was turned upside down. A bedroom window had been shattered. and this broomstick suddenly appeared on the stove.
A lot of things happened in that apartment. There was the constant movement of objects. The night after the window had been broken, we attempted to clean up the glass, and I remember that there was this one particular shard of glass that came to a point almost like a dagger.
And Barry and I together cleaned up the glass of the window, put everything in a container, took it out to the dumpster, threw it away.
We walked back into my apartment, and at that time I had this small typewriter sitting on a table in the kitchen.
We look over at the typewriter and we see a shard of glass just sitting with a point up, shard of glass like this, just sitting right on top of the typewriter. This was one of the pieces of glass that we had just hauled out previously.
How it was moved from the dumpster to the interior of my apartment is beyond me, because no one else had access to the apartment that night.
We're panning down on the floor now, and you'll see a close-up of a scissors.
We had just come back from another job. We were sitting in the living room talking, and suddenly we heard a loud crash in the kitchen.
We walked in, and Barry sees the scissors lying here.
It was one of the same pair of scissors that had been placed under the pillow the night before.
Connected with this same occurrence tonight, this beauty light apparently turned itself on, or something turned it on.
We took the camera and videotaped around the apartment. We didn't see anything. We walked back into the kitchen.
Everything's pretty much normal. The scissors are lying on the floor where they were. I don't see anything strange going on. Oh, there we have something right there.
Oh God, where did it come from?
There it is, and we don't know where it came from. Look, scissors. I just saw it. I definitely heard it.
Did you just hear a crash?
I definitely heard it.
Where did it come from?
We were standing right here, and
there's a pepper shaker that's...
There's a pepper shaker, and I don't remember where that was. That might have been sitting here. But that scissors just came out of nowhere, just right now. It just right now.
Where did it come from, Jeff? Was there anything? Did you see it at all fly?
No, I didn't see anything. I was looking at this scissors because I thought, well, maybe something will materialize by this particular scissors. We're both looking at it, and all of a sudden this thing crashes over our head. I don't believe it.
On August 29, 1990, the poltergeist-like activity increased at Conrad's apartment.
There was a moment where we walked into the bedroom, and I was shoved from behind again.
Oh, you all right? You all right? Whoa. You okay? What happened? What happened? Wait, what happened? What happened just now?
Push.
Hey, you were just pushed just now?
Yeah.
Okay, what pushed you, Jeff?
I don't know.
Okay, wait a minute.
I was standing right
Turn
here.
this light back on just for a second. Okay, wait a minute.
Camera okay?
Yeah, camera's okay. What happened was some invisible force had shoved Jeff right down onto the bed. Okay, hold it right there.
This really shocked me that I would be struck from behind again, because here we thought we had left this thing down in San Pedro. Although it wasn't a huge push, it seemed like a smaller strike from a smaller source. I just got a push. I was standing right here. I was holding the video camera, the Sony.
Right after we turned the camera off.
And we turned the camera off. We were here talking. And all of a sudden it just hit me in the back, pushed me right on the bed. And thank God the bed was there to break my fall. I don't know if you can see anything.
Okay, well, oh gosh.
Yeah?
It looks like, oh my gosh, was it right in here?
Yeah.
Okay, you have a very red mark right there. I'm going to get a close-up of that.
I think somewhere in this side here, yeah?
Yes, sir.
The repeated attacks on Jeff were not laughed off. In fact, he had to take repeated vacations, or say retreats, away from his family, his friends, because the response he had to this was one of post-traumatic stress disorder, whereas you don't see the effects till sometime later, and they're quite debilitating. So you just didn't walk away from it and go, oh great, ghost just tried to kill me, and it's a lot of fun. This is something that I think people would be embarrassed to discuss and horrified to recall.
Time and time again, Conrad's apartment was targeted by the bizarre antics of the poltergeist. On December 4th, 1990, it culminated in a blitzkrieg of ghostly phenomena.
Earlier that evening, Jeff and Gary and myself had been out videotaping a Christmas party over in Beverly Hills. When we returned to my apartment that evening, little did I know that we'd have a visitor waiting for us.
It did not take long for the group to realize that something was amiss.
Something occurred in that apartment about every 5 minutes. I began documenting just not every single incident that happened, but anything that happened differently. So in other words, a thing like the burners going on. I mean, that was just one thing that I wrote down. By the next morning, I had a sheet of paper with about 30 or 40 different things that happened.
Objects were constantly being moved that night, and the reason that it was very hard to document this phenomena as it was happening is because whenever you'd be in one room, something would happen in another room or behind our back.
I noticed it here, Barry, when I walked out. Yeah. And I just looked around the corner, and now the flashlight is closer to the hallway here.
Although cameras were rolling, the entity always seemed to be one step ahead of the researchers.
We had just a slew of incidents, so we were kind of with our eyes open, always looking to see if there was anything that was going to happen. We had the cameras, both of the cameras running, and we had them in the apartment, ready for almost anything that could happen.
Oh shit, there's something on your lens.
What is it?
Look.
It's an ink mark. It's an ink mark. Black ink. Like a felt pen. Once this all started happening, Barry was using the camera almost continuously. This was the professional camera that he had. Partway through, he was about to shoot something with Jeff or of Jeff or something like that, and Jeff looked at this filter over the camera, and he noticed there was something wrong with it. And about that time, Barry, also looking through, noticed there was something wrong, and took the filter off and looked at it, and something, whatever you want to say, had taken not one but two different colors of felt tip pens and had scribbled all over this filter. There was a little bottle of typewriter whiteout, just a little small bottle of whiteout, and amongst the things that were on the floor. And he picked up that whiteout and he set it up on top of the typewriter, which was on the table in that room. At that point, the bottle of whiteout, which was sitting in the typewriter, lifted up, floated across the room just as neat as anything, and then dropped to the floor right to the other side of Barry. Now, Barry didn't see this happening because it went behind him. All he saw was the expression on my face and Jeff, so we just looked at each other and it's like, did you see that? Kind of thing, because there was no one else there. It just as neat as anything picked up, floated across the room about, I'd say about 6 feet, and then dropped to the floor. Okay, let's turn the twin burners on, particularly the one under the tea kettle.
What was that tea kettle before?
The tea kettle was on this side. I moved it to that side myself.
At 3:59 a.m., Conrad tried an experiment. He placed an envelope and pen in the middle of the stove, hoping that the entity would write a message. 5 minutes later, the envelope was on fire.
Oh my gosh! Oh my God! Come in here! Barry, get this!
Oh shit!
Look at this. It moved the paper on top of it. It's now burning the paper. It's lit the burners, and it's burned the paper.
As the night grew longer, it was apparent that the thing in the apartment was not about to leave. At 4:30 a.m., while Barry and Jeff were coming out of the kitchen, a loud crash suddenly came from behind.
Oh shit.
What happened?
I don't know.
Oh,
Something flew behind me.
What was it? Look! And when we turned and looked, there was a box of .22 caliber rifle shells. Bullets, actually, had been placed on top of the right front burner.
Luckily, we caught that in time and we took everything off. But you can imagine how dangerous this could have been. Hurry up and get it, because I want to get that out. We got to get that away from that stove.
Where the hell did that come from?
That is crazy as hell.
Everything was a surprise. Everything was something new and different. It did the same thing many times, but this was something it only did once. And the suddenness and the noise of it, I think was a shock to us. It's like all of a sudden you hear this clatter in another room. It was just very loud. I mean, they were just thrown to the floor of the kitchen.
Are you all right? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Are you okay? There it is. What? I saw it fly into him. You got to the camera? I didn't. It wasn't rolling. It turned. What happened? Something just pushed me in the corner here.
There would be one more major event before the night was through.
I saw a light start about at this point here, about say 1.5 feet in front of him, and fly into his chest. Just saw it fly right into him. And again, he didn't seem to react or anything like that happened. I started to mention it to him, the fact that I saw something fly into his chest, when all of a sudden he was thrown back against the wall.
All of a sudden, Gary was saying something was flying towards me, and all of a sudden I feel like I'm being pushed up right like this by the neck or something. But I didn't feel anything strong on me. That's the strangest thing. It just felt like something was motivating me from inside just to pull me up here.
When the sun came up the next morning, it seemed that the phenomena faded away. After several hours had elapsed, something even more startling occurred.
Right now, my editing bay, the lights are blinking off and on. I've never seen this happen before.
Looks like the channel 1, channel 2, and video lights are going on and off in sequence. They're all on there. One goes off, second, third goes off.
When I saw this, I was very curious to examine the tape. We counted the number of frames in the motion picture between each of the lights flashing on and off, and found them, from their time code markings, to be different. The intervals between one light going on and another going off were different. This tells me that it was not the computer or any machine sequence providing an exact time, since I know this particular equipment to be extremely reliable electronically. And seeing lights go on and off, which are shared by the same wire to the slave machine, I knew this was impossible for this to happen without someone pushing these buttons. Even stranger yet, when these lamps went on and off, the corresponding lamps, which are slave to this same cable, stayed lit all the time on the slave deck. Strange operation indeed.
When this case began in the summer of 1989, no one could have predicted its longevity. Poltergeist activity is usually short-lived. Although today, the phenomena has greatly diminished, Jackie Hernandez believes that whatever was following her has not completely gone away.
Today, there's hardly any phenomenon. I'm not afraid anymore. In hindsight, I can say it now where I couldn't say it when I was going through it, but I almost feel fortunate to have had the opportunity to see the other side, although there's a lot that I would have preferred not to have seen. But it was an experience that not too many people get to go through, and even though I didn't want to at the time and I was terrified, I feel fortunate to have experienced the things that I've experienced.
Were spirits of the dead responsible for the haunting of Jackie Hernandez, or some other freak of nature? Strange colored mists, blood plasma, balls of light, and an attempted hanging, all part of this unknown encounter. Are these not grounds for believing that something beyond this world lurks out there, waiting for us to discover its darkest secrets?